Hello, welcome to Lost in Movies. I'm Alec Kerr, the film critic for the Conway Daily Sun, once again joined by
Tranifer.
And this week we are reviewing Super 8, the new J.J. Abrams film, executive produced by Spielberg. That's kind of a throwback to Spielberg's movies from the 70s and 80s. We're also going to get to see geeks in their natural habitat.
Crikey.
With me and my friend Brian reviewing movies by Asylum. Just terrible, terrible movies.
Good films.
Yeah, high-quality films.
Oh, yeah.
And we're also going to be talking about other movies that Spielberg has produced. But first, check out the trailer for Super 8. So, Super 8, I rather enjoyed this movie, and what I really appreciate about it is that it has a real sense of camaraderie between kids, and the first half of the movie is probably better than the second half. But you just have kids, and these kid actors are really pretty good, and they just have a real kind of like in a Stand By Me kind of vein, where they talk like actual kids, they swear at each other, and they're together making this movie, and it's just kind of funny just watching these kids make this movie, and then they just happen to capture something on their Super 8 camera, which is where the title comes from.
And it all changes.
It all changes. But I just like the idea of these kids going around with this camera, and they're trying to get production value. And so they're trying to shoot like the actual like disaster, like train wreck that they capture, and like actual soldiers. So I think it's kind of interesting how you have these kids going around taking reality and putting it into this terrible zombie movie they're making. And over the end credits, you have to stay during the credits. You get to see the zombie movie they made, which I'm pretty sure the kids actually directed themselves. And I don't know, I enjoyed it. It's very sentimental, kind of like in the vein of a Spielberg movie, and it is manipulative and it is kind of schmaltzy. There's particularly a moment where at the end where one of the kids who has mommy issues because his mother has been killed. There's a very kind of heavy-handed metaphor of him having to let go, and I knew it was heavy-handed and I knew it was manipulative, but damned if it didn't actually work on me. So, I don't know, I enjoyed it.
I felt that it was just kind of, I don't know, I really did enjoy the kids. I liked them, and honestly, I think they should have just left the monster out. I think I would have liked the movie more if it was just a bunch of kids running around trying to be filmmakers and stuff. I really enjoyed that part of it, but I really wasn't sold by the monster. It looked silly. It was loud, it was all over the place, and then it ended way too abruptly. I just was not impressed by it.
Yeah, I don't know.
The acting was good. They really had a good cast. That's why I was so let down. And like you said, I think I liked the first half way more than the second, but I really liked the set in reality.
Yeah,
Hearts.
I mean, the kids are very good. Elle Fanning, Dakota Fanning's little sister, she is very good. Like, she has a scene where she's supposed to be rehearsing a scene in this zombie movie, and she starts crying, and I'm like, holy crap! Like,
and all the kids are in
awe of her, and I was in awe of her too. I'm like, damn, she can act. Like, and there's some really good scenes between. I didn't know the lead kid's name. But they have a real interesting kind of romance that develops, and there's some tenderness, and I don't know. I really do like the kids, and I do like that there is kind of this like Goonies kind of like vibe, or like E.T. a little bit with them like riding around on their bikes at the end, and I mean, it does like in the last third just turn into like this like a 50s style monster movie with all these explosions and everything like that.
It didn't fit. I felt like they just kind of haphazardly threw the ending together. Like I said, it kind of was like, oh, problems resolved, I guess. Oh, the end. And I just wasn't very blown away.
I don't know.
I was like it like I hoped I would.
I mean, I found it engaging. Maybe it was because I did appreciate that first like half so much and had become so invested in those characters that I was willing to kind of go with it when it kind of went way over the top, and I did like, because there's something that happens with, and they've been very careful about not revealing any of the secrets with the alien, and I guess we kind of, because they didn't even make sure, the trailer's kind of been vague about if it's an alien or not, but it is an alien. But it kind of does, it goes in directions where it's not really what you expect. Like, and there's, and it's kind of hard to, I don't want to spoil it, but it goes into things that are unexpected. And yeah, the alien doesn't look very good, but at this point, I don't think you can make an original looking alien. So I really don't particularly care that the alien didn't look that interesting.
It was just weird too. It was, and I'm sure this was part of like trying to be a mystery, but it looked blurry. It was like, you know, Bigfoot running by or something. I mean, there was some sharp parts, but still, I don't even know how many legs that silly thing had, and like how many arms, and it just, I don't know.
Well, yeah, you finally do get to see him clearly in the end, and it is kind of the old Spielberg thing, like the whole thing with Jaws, like, of kind of hiding it. Like, you don't really need to see it. It's more to your imagination.
The suspense,
And, you know, I think today, you know, a lot of movies today, they just show you everything so much, and, you know, and so I was kind of okay with you're only getting glimpses of it, and then you do finally get to see it. And it really is a story of a boy getting over the fact that his mother died. And so... And it's also his father getting over the fact that his wife died, and there's some conflict with not Dakota, Ella Fanning's father, and there's some conflict there, and the way that that is resolved, there's kind of this. It's not exactly subtle, but it's like a scene where the two fathers kind of have a real honest moment, and I thought that was effective, and. I don't know, even when a movie becomes completely chaotic, there are real moments of acting, kind of like quietness and grace in amongst the chaos. And the kids are really great. You have the explosion kid.
I love him.
Who is just so funny. And then you have just the maniacal director kid who's just like, just stop talking about it. And you're just like, oh man, you're so obnoxious. Why is anybody hanging out with him at all?
Because he's got a camera.
Because he's got a camera, and then his camera breaks, and like, and then the film at the end that the kids made is really pretty good.
Like I said, I think I like the film more than I like the movie. The kids, they had potential.
Yeah.
I want to see something by them, full length. I like their work.
So I liked it. I was engaged, and it was, you know, it was a movie that was a kind of a throwback to an older filmmaking style, and it's not quite so chaotic. Like, you have to admit, you would take this over Transformers, right? You rather watch the chaotic Michael Bay loudness.
If I wanted to watch an action film, I'd watch that. I mean, like I said, they need to just cut all the alien stuff out of this. Just make it a sweet movie. Like, they don't need all the crazy sci-fi-ness. It's a good film on its own.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I do know where you're coming from, but it was kind of like, and you know, with Paul, you know, where J.J. Abrams is desperately paying tribute to Spielberg, and so I don't know. It worked for me. I understand what you're saying about the second half of it, especially when the alien becomes a bigger part of the movie.
Yeah.
And it becomes a little bit more chaotic. And it would have been better if it probably would have been better if it just stayed focused on the kids making a movie, or it just didn't quite go so
over the top.
Yeah. But I found it. I was engaged throughout, and you do have like the stoner who's helping them drive around.
Drugs are bad, guys. Drugs are bad.
And I did appreciate his whole character in the second half of the movie. So I don't know. It just worked for me, and I was engaged throughout. So.
Well, fine. Agree to disagree.
Agree to disagree.